Evelyn and Logan met in high school. They dated for a long time, and then at the age of 23, Evelyn got pregnant by accident. The labor was very difficult, and the doctors said that they would not have any more children. Thank God, daughter Maya was wonderful and could not stop pleasing young parents. She had recently turned 25. Now she was already an independent woman who rented an apartment and worked, not depending on her parents' finances. 3 months ago, Logan found out that his beloved wife once had a nice vacation in a hotel with some Jack. He discovered their Facebook correspondence when he logged onto Evelyn's computer for some minor issue. The man realized that he was doing a bad thing when he went through her correspondence, but curiosity took over. What struck Logan the most was that the man was extremely unattractive, but apparently rich. On his Facebook page, there were pictures of him in an expensive Mercedes, and in his correspondence, he told Evelyn how he had recently returned from a business trip from the Arab Emirates, where he had a branch office. Logan read the correspondence, where his wife sent photos of herself to her lover, and his heart began to beat faster with frenzy. The furious father immediately called his daughter and started insisting that she come home, saying it was very urgent. Mia became nervous, but agreed. Mia arrived at their home, and that's when the father decided to lay his cards on the table in front of his women. I know everything. I saw pictures of your lover, and I don't understand how you could trade me for that monkey. You have something to say for yourself. What do I have to say for myself? It's your own fault. You didn't pay attention to me. You were always at work. I haven't felt any emotion from you in the last 10 years. Unlike the guy I've been with. His feelings were fine. Evelyn's cold and indifferent answer stunned the man. It's okay that I worked for my family, earned money, wanted to quit at 50 and live on savings. This does not please you at all. You're a cold and heartless bitch. I haven't seen any money. You've been stingy. You've been saving. You had to fight to win back every penny. Who else is heartless? Look at yourself, my wife shouted back. Mia was not at all surprised at what was happening, and also began to berate her mother for betraying the family. To Logan's even greater shock, Evelyn began to accuse her daughter of trying to sit on 2 chairs. The women began to fight among themselves. As it turned out, it was Maya who discovered her mother's walkabouts, which had been going on for several years as the pandemic began. The wife's groomer thought of nothing better than to supply their daughter with money as long as she did not speak out. And Logan's daughter went silent. It broke the man's heart. His world was falling apart. The 2 most important women to him betrayed him at the same time. The daughter suddenly cried and began to apologize to her father for not being on his side. She roared and roared, but Logan pushed her away from him and sat on the couch, not knowing what to do. Then resolutely he got up and drove away wherever his eyes were. All evening he drove around the city, fighting the urge to drive into a pole at full speed. He decided he would move out and live alone for the time being. He got to the apartment and went in to pack. Evelyn wasn't home. Apparently, she went to her boyfriend, the man thought bitterly. At first, Logan blocked both traitorous women and decided he wouldn't communicate with them at all. He wanted them to disappear. But then he changed his mind and decided to still listen to his daughter, apparently still loved her, and could not understand why she chose silence for money. A day later, they met in a cafe. Mia tried to hug her father, but he said don't and sat down in his seat. When they sat down, he got straight to the point and asked why she was defending her mother. Mia cried and told him. She didn't have enough money to rent a place to live after quitting her job. And her mother's lover had offered so much money that it was very hard to resist. Mia justified herself by saying that she didn't want to interfere in her parents' life. They would sort it out themselves. The money helped me, said a tearful Mia. I began to feel more confident, calmer. I realized that I would not be thrown out of the apartment. Logan was squeezing words out of himself through his resentment. You can tell he's a hero. And me? Why didn't you come to me? Why didn't you ask me for help? I didn't want you to know I was struggling. I didn't want to be scolded, his daughter roared again. Mia asked if he would still love them with his mom or not. Andre said he didn't know and wasn't sure about anything else. Logan couldn't recover from his conversation with his daughter for a long time. It seemed to him that his whole world had collapsed. His wife had betrayed him, and his daughter had sided with the traitor. He felt lonely and lost. Logan spent a few days alone in the apartment, shutting himself off from everyone. He drank a lot of whiskey. He didn't want to talk to anyone. But then he realized that he couldn't go on like this. It was necessary to get out of this situation somehow. Logan decided to talk to Evelyn. The meeting was difficult. Evelyn expressed no remorse, only blaming her husband for running her off. Logan tried to explain that he was working for the good of the family, but Evelyn was adamant. The conversation ended in a scandal and threats of divorce. After that, Logan realized that he needed to calm down and think things over. He went to the countryside to be alone. There, alone with himself, he thought about many things. Logan realized that he really hadn't been paying much attention to his wife in recent years. Work occupied all his time and thoughts, and the family has moved to the background. Evelyn must have felt lonely and unwanted. This does not justify her action, but it explains something. As for the daughter, Logan understood that the daughter was in a difficult situation. Money can always tempt, especially when you need it so badly. And Katya was still quite young, inexperienced in solving such moral dilemmas. Deep down, Logan still loved his daughter and didn't want to lose her because of this story. Having made these decisions to himself, Logan returned home. He talked to his daughter and forgave her. Told her that she would always be the little girl he loved more than life to him. Mia cried bitterly, begging for forgiveness. As for the relationship with his wife, that was a more complicated issue. Logan decided that they would try to save the marriage. After all, they had lived together for almost 30 years. They did not want to destroy all the good things that had been between them before. But Logan gave Evelyn a condition. She had to permanently end her relationship with her lover. Otherwise, reconciliation was out of the question. Evelyn reluctantly agreed. She herself did not want to lose the usual way of life and material wealth. She liked the luxury that her lover gave her. The next months were not an easy test for their family, but Logan and Evelyn began to go to a marriage counselor. Gradually, they were able to rebuild their relationship. Logan tried to spend more time with his family, and the wife learned to appreciate her husband and forgive him for his workdays. In 6 months, from the previous crisis was not left in trace. Of course, trust was restored not immediately, but Logan and Evelyn worked hard to keep the family together. Mia also helped them as much as she could. A year later, Logan and Evelyn celebrated their 30th anniversary together. All their relatives and friends came to the celebration. Mia brought her young man to meet her parents. She glowed with happiness and was proud that her parents were able to keep the family together. That evening at the festive table reigned warmth and joy. All the difficulties seemed to be behind us. Logan looked at his smiling wife and thought that it was not in vain that they had gone through this ordeal. Their love had withstood everything, and now there was a new, happy life ahead. Subscribe to our channel, and you will be the first listeners of another new story.